Alright, this is Spider-Man's Last Hunt. It's a trade paperback collecting the 6-issue story, which is widely considered to be one of the best Spider-Man stories ever done. This is written by DeMatteis and drawn by your boy Zeck, and this cover is very iconic and also spoils the story. This is quite an old trade paperback, as you can see from this quite hefty tear on the first page. This story though, it's all about this fella. He is called Hunter Man. He's an odd Spider-Man villain from the Silver Age. He was created by Stanley Lee and Scott Ditko-Mans, and he never really took off. He didn't become one of the web slinger's main foes. He was always seen as a bit of a gimmick, kind of a novelty, almost a joke character. But this story goes above and beyond in adding quite a lot of depth to what was seen as an otherwise lame character. Turns out that he is a proper loony basket case. And this is Spider-Man. If you didn't know about Spider-Man, his deal is that he is half human and half spider. And his main superpower is he likes to swing around New York on his webs. And this is him when he is man. The half of him that is man. Peter Parkless. He has got superpowers as well. They are, the first one is that he likes to sleep a lot. He can do really good sleeping, like you can see there. And his other power is he gets to have sex with his supermodel wife. And here's how mental Hunter Man is. Look, he is eating spiders. Why would you eat spiders? They're not food. They don't have any flavour. They taste horrible. And then Spider-Man, he is swinging around New York on webs, as he does, showing off. And then suddenly, he gets hit in the neck by a dart. And you're probably thinking, God, whoever threw that is awful at darts. They missed the dartboard by miles. But this is actually Hunter Man, and he has poisoned Spider-Man with a tranquilizer dart. And Spider-Man, he starts to imagine, he starts to hallucinate Joe Face. You know, Joe Face. Classic character from Spider-Man comics, Joe Face. He appeared in one issue of Spider-Man Team Up by the same writer. Joe Face, come on, you know, he's an integral part of the franchise. Yeah, this is a very self-serving continuity nod. I suppose it does intrigue you a bit. You want to find out, oh God, who is this Joe Face? And then you can read that Spider-Man Team Up and are underwhelmed. He probably should have just imagined Emma Stone's or Uncle Ben. So Spider-Man, he is doped up and he starts fighting Hunter Man, but it's no good. He gets caught in a net, just like Danny Dyer in the never-produced sequel to the financial flop Run for Your Wife. And Hunter Man, he points his gun at Spider-Man, and you're thinking, God, how's he gonna get out of this one? And then blam, and you're like, shit in hell. Hunter Man has just shot Spider-Man. He is dead. But don't worry, because apparently it was just a dart, even though it says blam like a real gun would. And look, they are burying Spider-Man in a grave. What is going on? Have I accidentally bought a snuff film? And that's the end of part 1. And here is what would be a very good cover for part 2 if in the Bronze Age they hadn't give Hunter Man. They gave him superpowers that his nipples shot lasers. So now you look at this and it is always lacking. This would look so much better if it was shooting the lasers out of his nipples. So, right, he's buried Spider-Man, boasting on his grave. Here lies Spider-Man, slain by Hunter Man. And he's so nuts that he has put Spider-Man's costume on. And he thinks that now he should be able to be Spider-Man. Meanwhile, there's this pretty woman in the rain and she's getting wet. She should have listened to Umbrella Man on the YouTube's website with his catchphrase, always take an umbrella with you. And suddenly something comes out the sewers and grabs her and takes her down. This is Vermin Man. Another character created by this writer, DeMatteis. He first appeared in Captain America, and then he appeared in Spider-Man Team Up in a story with Spider-Man and Captain America. It was kind of like a handoff issue, I suppose. And after that, he kept appearing in Spider-Man stories by DeMatteis. He's an alright villain. Then we have got Spider-Man's wife. This is Mary James, and she is lovely. She is delightful. Look at her legs, very lovely. And now we have got Hunter Man. He goes out as Spider-Man, and look, he's so nuts. He is drinking from a bowl like a little dog. That spiders didn't drink from a bowl. And this is all leading to a big confrontation between Vermin Man and Hunter Man dressed as Spider-Man. And Mary James, she's worried because Spider-Man hasn't come home, so she goes out looking for him. And she almost gets mugged by some muggers, but fortunately, Spider-Man shows up and he really brutalises the muggers. Well, this is obviously Hunter Man in Spider-Man's costume, and Mary James realises that it's not the real Spider-Man because Spider-Man is a goody bird and he wouldn't hurt people. And then that would be a really good picture of Spider-Man. Some people would say, oh, that is a very beautiful image of Spider-Man. But think again, because this isn't Spider-Man. This is Hunter Man in Spider-Man's costume. And this issue, part 3, is mostly Spider-Man, aka Hunter Man, having a very brutal fight with Vermin Man in the sewers. Very graphic, very violent. Here we go. He pummels him, proper belts him one. And if you want a R-rated version of this recap, he beats the shit out of the little cunt. Then we're on to part 4, and that is the cover from the cover of the cover. And this one, we start off, and it's very philosophical and metaphysical. Spider-Man, the real one, Peter Parkless, he's like in a void, he's thinking, and this is all in the brain, man. It's really hard to follow, it's trippy and stuff. And then Spider-Man, he comes out of the grave and he says, I love you. He's probably talking about Mary James, not the tombstone. No, that's some quite nice sculpting. And the first thing that Spider-Man does when he buries out of the grave, he doesn't go and fight the baddies. No, he goes home and has sex with his supermodel wife, Mary James. My kind of superhero. And this is all leading to the obvious confrontation between Spider-Man and Hunter Man. This is part 5 here. This is a big fight. And I don't want to really ruin the end because it's got a very famous ending, a very well-known ending. And I don't want to spoil it. But they have a fight, obviously. And would you believe Spider-Man wins? And the big ending that everyone knows is that Hunter Man shoots himself. He commits suicide. And that is a spoiler. This is a really good story. This is, hands down, one of the best Spider-Man stories. One of the really good elements of it is it doesn't matter if you have read any Spider-Man before. You can read this and it is still brilliant. I rate this 7 thumbs up.